Welcome to another exciting race of the Ultimate Racing Network, otherwise known as TURN. I'm your host, Ryan McDowell, Siphon68. Joining me in the commentating box for this special event is Matt Tucker, PTG Mesosphere, and we've got a very, very special race here. This is the 2016 TURN All-Star Invitational. And this is going to be a three-class race around Daytona, the 24-hour layout. So we've got LMP1 here represented by 7 cars. We've got LMP2 here, 7 cars, and GT, also another 7 cars. So we've got 6 clubs here represented with 1 wild card entry, and this should be really interesting. We're just getting started right now with 20 minutes qualifying. Just get the timing car squared away there. All right, Matt, you want to pick up on a little bit of preliminary commentary here? So we're going to follow on board here. Okay, so like I said, we do have 6 clubs here that are represented on track. We've got DUK, we've got TLR, or Tech Life Racing, we've got LMR, we've got Happy Cat Racing, otherwise known as HCR. We've got XPR in here as well. F4H is in here. It should be a really interesting battle. Now our wild cards are LRT Breeze in GT. He's in the Audi R8. We've got Bam Boycotts in the LMP2.
I'm just picking you up on the stream. What's happened to Skype?
And we've got we've got the one named Jack then also as a wild card in LMP1. He's in the Audi. Should be pretty interesting stuff. Again, just getting started on our warm-up laps here before they start qualifying proper.
Right, I think I got you again. Sorry, technical difficulties. Skype decided that it didn't want me to hear anything. We do apologise. Good evening, everyone.
Right, so we've just started here. They've just started with their first laps. Not even, looks like right now we've got HCR Hamish on provisional pole, but again, these are just their first laps, so these are truly their first hot lap here right now.
Yeah, it looks like a few people got the infield section all on cold tyres, so a lot of dirty laps there to start with, certainly in LMP. Certainly going to be interesting to see the differences in top speed on the banking.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be big advantage to the Nissan. I think it's going to be pushing 220 mile an hour on the straight down into turn 1. We're currently on board with TLR Gearhead.
Looks like we just had a spinner in the bus stop.
I apologize if the stream is a little bit laggy right now. We're going to try and get that resolved as quickly as we can and before the race if that is continuing to be a problem. This 20-minute qualifying, there are no collisions. It's all ghosting, so they don't have to worry about draft or running into anybody else if they're in the appropriate line. They don't have to worry about overtaking GT cars. They can just go straight through them.
Yeah, certainly makes life much easier in qualifying if you don't actually have to try and find space to make a lap. Some good lap times already starting to be set by the looks of things.
See if we can't take a quick look here. So we've got TLR Gearhead 5, the one we are currently on board with on provisional pole with a 261. HCR Hamish in second at the moment, still trying to get in a proper clean flying lap there. He's got a 134 at the moment. Down in LMP2, it's TLR Overdrive, who is on provisional pole for his class. We'll step back there to him. Now, LMP2 for this event is exclusively the Mazda Lola P2. So
yeah, that should be an interesting class to run the race.
It
They're all
really
in the
should.
same car.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea of a spec class for one of these. I mean, with LMP1 having 5 choices here, and GT having 9 choices, or I guess it's 4 choices, isn't it, for LMP1? Anyway, just a myriad of choices in LMP1 and GT, and for LMP2, you kind of get that high-end feel, but you're not having to worry about, am I competing with someone else's unfair car advantage?
Yeah, there's no strengths or weaknesses with everybody being in the same car. It all comes down to driver skill, so I think certainly LMP2 in this one is... We may see more of a gap between the faster few and I would say the less fast few in that class, because it's also then very hard to compensate. If you make a mistake, you're carrying that, I mean, on this track particularly, all the way around the bank, you make a mistake at the bottom. So it's much easier to lose time, so consistency is going to be everything in that case.
Yeah, absolutely.
HCR Hamish seems to have taken provisional pole.
Indeed, a 130.057 down in GT. It's all about LMR Harmonic and LRT Breeze as they battle it out. LMR Harmonic currently with a 144.042 in his Ferrari 458 Italia, and LRT Breeze with a 144.348, so just 0.3 back is LRT Breeze in his Audi R8.
I was very impressed with Breeze's time on that Audi. Very, very fast. And from watching the recent races that we've done with this class, I'm super intrigued as to how fuel's going to play out as it comes to the GT cars.
Currently on board with LMR Harmonic, that's David Hoke there in the number 48.
Seems some of the LMP are starting to get some clean laps coming. GSR Roadrunner's now moved into the top 3 in the TSO 40. Only to be beaten by the one named Jack. Gotta say, some really, really nice liveries.
Yeah, absolutely. These liveries are pretty amazing. I don't know if you're seeing anyone in particular that you think might be on pace for setting a fast time in their class. Currently on board with HCR Solar in his Viper.
I've got to say, it's very hard for me in spectator view to try and think, oh, this person's going really quite quickly, because there's very few cars near each other at the moment to use as reference. And we don't have lifetimes.
GSR Roadrunner promotes himself up into 4th for LMP1.
Yeah, it's starting to tighten up at the top. I still think there's a few people, like Nick James is currently much lower than I expected. Oh, that's not right. I just came onto Nick James and his car was stuck in the ground. I hope that was lag.
HCR Motorhead just now takes provisional pole for LMP2 with Bam Boycotts just behind that.
Right, luckily for Nick James, it was just lag for some reason on my part with my connection to the race, but now I do have the rather interesting spectacle of every time I see his car, it has no wheels. It's just hovering around the track, which is quite interesting. Yay, Forza.
No doubt. So just 9 minutes left in qualifying then. Still HCR Hamish leads the way in his Rebellion with TLR Gearhead 5 in third, GSR Roadrunner, in second, GSR Roadrunner is third, just promoted there ahead of the one named Jack. XPR Chicane is fifth, FOH Nitro is sixth. As Bam Boycotts takes provisional pole in LMP2 there.
Just looking at the lap times, and I've got to say, hats off to the turn development team, because let's see, you've got 4 different cars basically in LMP, and the gap between first and fourth is just less than just over half a second. So differences in car performance is very small considering the differences in cars.
Pretty impressive stuff. We're trying to take our live timing here and get that as updated as we possibly can. So we are missing LMR Hybrid here. That's the one car that we are missing. So he's in the Nissan. He'll have to start at the back of LMP1 when we start the race here at the top of the hour. We've got 7 minutes to go here in qualifying. You know, one of the other interesting stories here is going to be in the race. We've got mandatory stops for LMP1 and GT, but none for LMP2. So the LMP2s are significantly slower than the LMP1s, but that Mazda is just king on fuel. So I think it'll be kind of interesting to see those two classes mixing it up. The LMP1s definitely have pace, but the fuel strategy or the fuel efficiency of that Mazda, however, is really going to make that a contender, I think.
It's a possibility. It all depends on, I mean, what lap times are currently being run in LMP2. We got rats. Timing code. There we go.
Yeah, it looks like 137s at the moment, although they're complaining about it could be a setup issue with that class. It's a good news that it's a spec class, but it sounds like they're complaining about a 5% power restriction that would have been intended for the Rebellion. I don't know if that's made its way onto the LMP2. We'll have to take a look, but all of them are equally affected in that class, if that is the case.
Yes, but that will make quite a difference in the lap time. If they are 5% power down, then you can expect them to take a couple more seconds off. But I have noticed already, have we had 1 or 2 LMP cars pit for fuel?
Yes. And I think that makes sense, because they typically go about, like even the Toyota goes about 12 or 13 minutes before they are tapped on fuel.
I know. I don't know what Force has done to the LMPs and their fuel tanks, because they don't do that in real life.
Yeah, for sure. I wish the fuel was some sort of slider or something that we could adjust. Just looking for any changes in our timing there that need to be updated. We're trying to stay on top of it as best we can, so we don't have to run out that order. You can see it there on our live timing. Something that we're trying to keep accurate there, as well as a timer at the top, so you have an idea of where they're at in terms of qualifying time and how much time they have left. But why don't we go ahead and switch to another car, though. Let's take a look at Bam Boycott's here, currently leading the LMP2 class.
And times are looking pretty close there. Boycott's for Overdrive and I have a cracking race. And it looks like Motorhead's planning on joining the party as well. Just a tenth of a second between the three of them, pretty much.
That is one hell of a livery on that Team BAM LMP2 wildcard entry there.
It's cracking.
He is less than a tenth ahead of TLR Overdrive here.
It's quite interesting seeing how they've set some of these cars up as well. It may look rather odd with the front wheels looking like they're barely touching the ground, but that's unfortunately an artifact of them having maximum front ride heights to deal with curbs and the banking.
Yeah, indeed. And there's also a bit of twitchiness from these cars on the, you see that, but that really comes from just the game's net code of, they're really being quite smooth on these bankings, but cars just aren't quite reacting at these speeds to the driver's smooth inputs.
Or it's possibly that with a few of them being on the controller, they might actually be not that smooth.
It could be. I think most of these guys are fairly smooth, though. I mean, you'll see this quite a bit, this tap, 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 but I don't think that that's exactly how they're taking this, even with a controller.
No, I mean, most of them are pretty good at how they got to this level in the first place. But you will just see the odd one or two seem to have this kind of little wiggle through certain sections.
The one named Jack then promotes himself up into second. That's a 130.141, so he's less than a tenth behind HCR Hamish in that Rebellion R1.
Fantastic. Fantastic. It looks like everyone's managed to get at least a clean map, because everything's now sorted out quite nicely into class, according to the live timing.
It does look like they've sort of settled into their positions right now. So barring some surprises here, we could be looking at the order. We've only got 3 minutes left, and then they've got to finish that their current lap. We'll take a look back at some of the other cars here. Looking at XPR Forbidden here in their McLaren. We're going to have plenty of time in the race to take a look at all of these amazing liveries that are in here. See if we can't get another good look at a couple other of these DBUKs. Nick James 123. Let's take a look at him. That's a brilliant red, white, and black livery for that that Corvette there.
Yeah, all the DBUK cars, I had a quick look at Northern Monkey and GSR. They all seem to be running this red and white livery, so you'll certainly be able to tell they're in the same team as they're going around the tracks. Kind of the red pinstripe. I still just have that weird bug with, for some reason, Nick James having no wheels. The Corvette of the future.
So they've got just one. Oh man, as we just see, maybe he's done with his lap, but TLR Lone Star there just puts it into the wall. There is only 1 minute left, so there's probably no point in continuing there. We'll take a look just up the grid a bit. This should be the McLaren, or I'm sorry, the Mercedes SLS of F4H Stingray, taking the place of F4H Trash this weekend.
Yeah, F4H has got such depth in its lineup as well, so I expect still big things for Stingray. Ooh. Just saw on the replay Lone Stars reversing into a wall. Yeah, it looks like pretty much most are done with their times. I can't see anyone standing out as subtly moving through lots of curves.
So time is up now. They're going to be just completing their final laps.
Yeah, most are already parked up.
We'll get a quick look at the times here and just make sure we get all this recorded. The race itself should start here. It'll be a 2-hour race. Should start here in roughly 30 minutes. The top of the hour, that's 3 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. GMT. Again, it'll be myself and Matt commentating that group, or that race, and it should be one heck of a race.
I'm really looking forward to it. LMP2 class looks to be super tight, as actually does LMP1, so I'm expecting a massive battle. Great to see how the strategies play out as well for fuel, particularly in LMP1.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, tune in about a half an hour's time. We'll get the stream up as quickly as we possibly can for that, probably 5 to 10 minutes before the race, and just stick around because it's going to be one heck of a race coming up. This is the 2016 Turn Invitational All-Star Race at Daytona. Thanks, guys.